The distant roar of howler monkeys echoing through the lush rainforest of Belize as they swing playfully from tree to tree. Tucked away in this tropical paradise is a cozy wood cabin, modern amenities, air conditioning, the works. It's the kind of getaway most of us dream about. Welcome to the Howler Jungle House and Cabanas in Burrel Boom Village. For Shanna and Kenny Williams, this dream started a decade ago with just one house. Today it's grown into 4 luxury accommodations thanks to a partnership with 3 American investors. But what began as paradise for those investors has now turned into what they call a horror story.
Sure, I didn't even know what that meant, but they explained it to us. I'm like, oh, Mennonite structure. Like, I live in Los Angeles, California. I wasn't too familiar with that, and so it sounded good. And the price that they told us from the beginning would be $50,000 for a 1-bedroom Mennonite structure. And I told them I was interested in the 2-bedroom, so they said that they would look into that, and so they gave me a quote of around 80,000 US dollars. And so we thought like, okay, that all sounds good. So what do we do now? And so we let them know from the beginning, like we are not like wealthy Americans. We're working, like it would have to be a project where we're paying as we go because we don't just have this, large amount of money to just fund this.
So here's how the deal was set up. The American investors signed a lease agreement with Shanna and Kenny Williams. In that document it's clear the Williamses remain the beneficial owner of the property. What they offered was permission for the investors to use part of the land to run 3 units. Now, this wasn't just a handshake deal. The agreement spelled out a long list of fees the investors would pay to the Williams. Everything from hotel management and monthly damage costs to operational expenses, security, reception, cleaning, landscaping, maintenance, even social security contributions. In short, the Williams were still very much in control.
They started working on the project. We met the contractor, and then they said like, oh, we actually need to use, I forgot what they said, like, oh, the wood has to be upgraded, the structure has to be like this. They started say like kind of adding all these luxury things and just putting on more and more, but it was not, it was like, okay, we're going to do it, this is what it's going to cost. So then the price went from, for me, I know mine went from the original 80,000 quote to 124,000 US dollars. Yeah, from 80 to 124,000. And my sister and my friend, their quotes went from the 50,000 US to the 80,000 US. And so we started to ask for explanations.
The investors say they kept sending money into the project even as the bills started climbing because they believed in the dream. They were confident that in the medium to long term, their investment would pay off. But then things took a turn. The relationship between the American investors and their Belizean partners began to sour. So a consultant was brought in not just to help steer the business back on track, but to mediate between both sides. And that's when the bombshells started dropping. The consultant began revealing things the investors say they never saw coming.
In Belize, you know how we get a quote? Like if you ask for something from the hardware store like Benny's, they give you a quote and then you go in and pay for it. What they were doing is they were taking the quotes and billing the investors with them. So they had a lot of quotes, but they weren't necessarily receipts. If it was over 100,000 Belize, I probably would have been like, okay, business happens and things happen. But when it started to get into like 500,000 US.
Now those investors claim they've been duped. They're pointing to what they call a laundry list of fraud, everything from inflated employee salaries and questionable electrical upgrades to bogus invoices, road construction scams, and even discrepancies in consultant payments. And that's just the beginning of their allegations. But Shanna and Kenny Williams are refuting every single claim. In fact, they've lawyered up and made it clear they're taking this seriously. Today they invited us to the property to see things for ourselves. While there, we spoke with attorney Andrew Bennett.
My clients categorically deny all these false allegations that have been made against them. Actually, we find them to be libelous and defamatory, and we're considering taking legal action on the heels of that letter. However, what cannot be denied is that Dr. Shadi Thompson entered into an agreement, an investment agreement. This is what we are seeing right now. 3 structures were placed on my client's property, and the purpose was to jointly operate these houses as tourist accommodation. And so what has happened is that immediately, possibly about maybe 6 months after commencing the operation of these vacation homes, in our view, Dr. Thompson listened to bad advice, and that has led to the dispute that is currently before us.
According to Bennett, the Williams ran their operations by the book. He contends that the costs of the works carried out to prepare the property and construct the 3 structures are well within a justifiable range.
What we will say is that, look at it, those structures are very unique to the property and they have the aesthetic appeal, and that is the reason why we invited Channel 5 to be here to see for themselves what these investors got. It's not every American voice that becomes the truth. You have to listen to Belizean investors, Belizean businessmen as well, because Kenny and Shanna, they have conducted their business above reproach. It was because of their ethics and because of their business and professionalism was what brought these investors to this property.
The American investors say they're ready to pack up, take their structures off the property, and move on with their lives. But that's easier said than done. The tug of war has turned into a full-blown legal battle and is showing no signs of slowing down. We'll have more details for you in an upcoming newscast. Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.